I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that Star Wars gaming is currently in a massive drought. At this point, Star Wars is probably in more of a drought than Southern California, and that's saying a lot. Anyways, this drought has been going on for about 3 years, and up until recently, it wasn't looking like EA was going to drag the Star Wars IP out of the ground, but here we are. EA and Respawn are currently in development of a first-person shooter Star Wars game, and it might be coming out sooner than you think. Okay, well, maybe not. The truth is that a lot of the details are still up in the air, and to be completely honest, we don't even know the title of the game. They could hit us with a curveball and call it Star Wars Battle Royale. I really hope I did not just speak that into existence. That would be terrifying. The goal I have with this video is to do some digging and find every single piece of information we have on EA's Battlefront replacement. To start off, we know this untitled first-person shooter Star Wars game began its development sometime later in 2021, as the announcement made by EA and Respawn was announced on January 25th, 2022, almost exactly a year ago. This title is directed by a man named Peter Hirschman, and I could be saying that completely wrong. I don't really know, to be honest. Hirschman is a creative with an extremely promising track record. He held major roles on the development of Star Wars The Force Unleashed, along with Battlefront 2, the original from 2005, and even the masterpiece of a game that is LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. Let me repeat myself real quick. The LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. I don't think there are that many people in the gaming industry that have track records that are this strong. One of the most important aspects of a successful and rewarding game is the passion or lack thereof that goes into it. Based on Hirschman's previous works, it is clear he has a strong passion for Star Wars, which is a great sign for fans. On top of the creative director's track record, the studio of Respawn also has a great catalog of games. Respawn developed the Titanfall games, which were a big part of my childhood, Apex Legends, which is one of the best battle royales, and even Jedi Fallen Order, which is a great Star Wars experience. All of these combined make up an impressive streak of games. But aside from the obvious fact that this title is an FPS, what do we really know about the game? Well, first off, according to Peter Hirschman himself, this game will be heavily story driven. Peter stated, "Working with Lucasfilm Games on a new FPS in the Star Wars galaxy is a dream come true for me, as this is a story I've always wanted to tell." To me, personally, this comes off as that the story is the main priority of the game. However, this does not rule out the potential of a multiplayer aspect being a part of the game. Typically, games associated with the first-person genre are multiplayer-focused titles, and according to EA, this game is labeled bluntly as a first-person shooter. Literally, if you look up first-person shooter on Google, every game that popped up is a multiplayer game, except for Doom, which came out 30 years ago, so that doesn't really count. Essentially, what I am getting at is that the FPS genre is closely linked with multiplayer capabilities, and while there are obviously exceptions to this rule, it is still relevant to point out in my opinion. Quickly, I would like to discuss what this game will eventually look and feel like. Obviously, the graphics will be exceptional because that is the one thing EA manages to get right every time. This game is being developed on Unreal Engine 5. Few games have yet to be published under this engine, however, based on how great Unreal Engine 4 looks on games like Sea of Thieves, Stray, and even Jedi Fallen Order, it is safe to say graphically this game will most likely be a success. As far as gameplay and movement goes, just judging on how other Respawn games feel, I'm confident that this game will feel great. The combination of a great track record of games combined with a shifty and colorful movement system in games like the smooth feeling of Apex Legends, the parkour aspect of Jedi Fallen Order, and the fast-paced combat of Titanfall greatly excite me for what this title has to offer. One slightly concerning fact about the game is the current state of development. After searching the internet for tweets and potentially small pieces of information regarding the title's future, I found some potentially worrying tweets. Last year in August, a designer working on the Star Wars FPS tweeted out that their team is hiring. He mentions that Respawn is looking for AI software engineers to work on the game. My guess is this AI the tweet is referring to is talking about in-game NPCs, or potentially if there is some sort of multiplayer game mode including bots. The tweet that I find slightly more worrying came on December 12th of last year. A similar style of tweet asked for artists and level designers. What this tells me is the game is still very early into its development. If much of the art direction or specific level designs are still up in the air at this point, I'm worried it could be longer than expected to receive this experience. Speaking of experience, that leads us right into the sponsor of today's video, the subscribe button. Wow, that was That might be the worst joke yet. Yeah, I really don't deserve your subscription at all, actually. Let's keep going. As a studio, Respawn spends about 3 to 3.5 years of development on a game, with the only major outlier in recent memory being that of Jedi Fallen Order, a game that spent 5 years in development until its release date. While we truly have no exact idea as to when to expect this game, I would unfortunately guess that it would be around 2026 when we receive this title. Based on the game still appearing to be early into its development cycle from the looks of those tweets, I would doubt that they have done much more than lay the groundwork and foundational ideas for the game at the moment. One interesting speculative idea I've seen floating around the internet while doing research for this video was the potential protagonist of this game. During the trailer for the upcoming Jedi Survivor, many fans noticed a newer, never before seen character holding a reasonable amount of screen time during this trailer. His name is Bode Akuna, and while this is completely speculative, I mean, I found it on Screen Rant of all websites, I still think it would be an interesting tie-in, as both games are developed by Respawn, and it would be exciting to see how these games would interconnect with each other. As cool as it sounds, the chance of this happening are like 5%, if we're being honest. Overall, I'm really pleased with the majority of knowledge I have found out about this game, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I wish a little more progress was expressed to fans over the last year, but the game is still obviously a while away from release, so I don't expect that much. Personally, I am really hoping EA gives us the multiplayer PvP game that we deserve after letting Battlefront shrivel to death. The future continues to look bright for Star Wars gaming, and I am beyond excited for this potential Battlefront replacement. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and go check out the video in the top right, which is the real reason that video games are now costing $70, and check out the video in the top left, which is how Jedi Survivor will save Star Wars gaming. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.